Leave It to Beaver was on the air from 1957 to 1963. It starred Jerry Mathers as Beaver Cleaver, and his older brother Wally was played by Tony Dow. Even if you weren't able to catch the classic sitcom during its original run, its reruns have been on the air in syndication virtually ever since. For his role as Wally, Dow won the Young Artist Former Child Star Lifetime Achievement Award. Let's take a closer look at his life and career and see what he's been up to in recent years. Tony Dow's early life and career. Tony was born in Hollywood, California. His father, John Stevens Dow Jr., was a designer and contractor, and his mother, Muriel Virginia Dow, was a stuntwoman who performed in early westerns. She was also Clara Bow's movie double for quite some time. Dow was a trained diver who competed in the AAU Junior Olympic Games before changing course and becoming a child actor. He scored the iconic role without having had any previous acting experience. In fact, he never really set his sights on acting. It was his mother's involvement with show business that initially lured him in, because once he discovered he had a knack for performing in front of the camera, he was hooked. On Leave It to Beaver, Dow rose to fame through the 234 episodes he appeared in. Leave It to Beaver was on the air before the assassination of JFK, the arrival of the Beatles, and the escalation of the American involvement in Vietnam. In a way, it represented the last wave of more innocent times in America. Not only did the music change, but so did the people and their desires and what they were seeking out of life. In a way, Leave It to Beaver is a bit of a time capsule. While Dow certainly didn't realize it at the time, he was part of something that would live on as a testament of the period that it came out of for audiences to enjoy for decades. During his time as Wally, Dow's mom would drive him to work every day after breakfast. He would study his lines on the way. Other than the 3 hours of the day he spent doing his schooling, the rest of the time was spent on set. Dow continued to portray Wally Cleaver for 6 years. During its production, Dow had no clue he was part of something that would someday be looked back on as iconic. After Beaver wrapped up production in 1963, Dow found it relatively difficult to break away from the character of Wally. He found himself typecast. People in the industry either wanted him because he was Wally or they didn't for the same reason. So for a time, he was a bit resentful. He later even admitted he didn't come to appreciate Leave It to Beaver for what it was until he was in his 40s. After the show, he went on to appear in other shows like My Three Sons, Dr. Kildare, The Greatest Show on Earth, and Mr. Novak. But even though he managed to find more work in the industry, he never found the same level of success as he did playing Wally. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like, and subscribe to Facts Verse if you haven't already. And stick around to see what Tony Dow and his former co-star Jerry Mathers have been up to. After Leave It to Beaver. In 1983, Dow reprised his role as Wally in the spin-off series Still the Beaver, directed by Stephen Hillard Stern. Dow went on to appear in films like Death Scream, The Kentucky Fried Movie, and Back to the Beach. He took a step away from acting between 1965 and 68 and served in the U.S. National Guard. In the 70s, he worked in the construction industry while he studied film and journalism. He continued to make appearances in a variety of shows and Broadway productions like Hairspray. For the next 2 decades, he worked behind the scenes as a director and producer for productions like The Adventure of Captain Zoom in Outer Space and It Came from Outer Space. He also directed a handful of episodes of shows like Cover Me, based on the true life of an FBI family, Babylon 5, Swamp Thing, and Coach. He also served as the visual effects supervisor for Babylon 5. In 1996, he helped provide the visual effects for the Fox TV movie adaptation of Doctor Who. His most recent screen credit as an actor was in the 2003 film Dickie Roberts' Former Child Star. In 2015, Dow was cast in the short film Lucky Day and landed a role in 1 episode of the show Suspense. Since 2019, Dow has been promoting Leave It to Beaver and other classic TV series on the MeTV television network. A talented sculptor and devoted husband. Dow tapped into his artistic abilities by working as a modern art sculptor. One of his pieces is even on display at a notable museum in Paris. He lives and works in Topanga Canyon, California, and finds many of his sculpting materials in nature. On June 14, 1969, Dow walked down the aisle with Carol Marlowe. He and his wife soon welcomed their son Christopher, but unfortunately they were divorced in 1980 after 11 years of marriage. Less than a year later, Dow married a mosaic artist named Lauren Schulkind and had another child. Fortunately, that one was built to last. The two have been married for more than 2 decades. In the 90s, Dow revealed he'd been suffering from clinical depression. Since then, he starred in self-help videos detailing his battle with the psychological ailment. Most notably, he appeared in the 1998 film Beating the Blues. In 2018, Dow and his wife Lauren joined forces for a performance of A.R. Garney's Love Letters at the Katharine Hepburn Cultural Arts Center in Old Saybrook, Connecticut, although that wasn't the first time he appeared in that play. He previously had met a man in Texas who owned a theater and invited him down to do a production of that play with Judy Norton from the Waltons. Before returning to the stage, Dow was beginning to notice he wasn't as young as he used to be, and his memory was no longer the steel trap it used to be. So a play where he could sit down and just read was perfect for him at that point in his life. What about the Beaver? Much like his co-star, Jerry Mathers also left acting to enlist in the U.S. Air Force Reserve before he attended University of California. Mathers then took a job as a commercial loan officer before becoming an accomplished real estate development broker. Eventually, he returned to acting, appearing in So Long Stanley with Dow. He continued acting with a variety of appearances on TV shows and the occasional Broadway production. Unfortunately, he was diagnosed with diabetes and lost more than 40 pounds. He's since used this difficult chapter to raise awareness of the disease. He later became the first male spokesman for Jenny Craig. Like Dow, Mathers too won the former Child Star Lifetime Achievement Award for his role as Beaver. His most recent acting credit was as the character Mr. Simpson in the 2008 film Will to Power. Mathers has been married 3 times. He met his first wife, Diana Platt, while in college. They married in '74 but later divorced. He met his second wife, Rhonda Gehring, while on tour with the production of So Long Stanley. They had 3 children together. Mathers and Gehring divorced in 1987. Jerry married his third wife, Teresa Mednick, on January 30th, 2011, and they've been happily married ever since. Now it's time to hear from you. In the comments section below, let us know who your favorite Leave It to Beaver sibling was, Wally or the Beaver. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.